Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for calling in for our weekly Dreamers in Action team call. I missed you last week when I was in Toronto at the Start Vision Tour, but I know that Melanie hosted an amazing call with Kisa and just kind of our recap from our recent tour to corporate. And I am super, super thrilled about the call tonight and the guest speaker that we have. But even before we get into the nitty gritty and heart and soul of our call, I first of all just want to give some shout outs to some amazing people. Rachel Millionaire went back to executive. She's going for, just big rank advancements with her team. And it's just really, really fun to see her doing this full time since she's moved to Mexico and be back at the highest level of leadership. So huge kudos to her. I want to congratulate Wesley and Eric for reaching Crystal Director. Super, super fun. And then Jen and Adam as our top enroller, you guys, 3 weeks in a row. They've enrolled like 12 people in 3 weeks and just an amazing, amazing job. So congratulations to you guys. I mean, just huge success and huge momentum of this team. I always like to just start our calls off with just talking about the success and giving you guys a little bit of knowledge about some of our, one of the products we're featuring. So the first girl that I want to invite to the call, I love, she's a friend of a friend. She's in her second month of Isagenix. She also was promoted to consultant just about a week ago. And this is a girl doing this part-time, learning it. She's been traveling all over and on like river cruises is connecting with people and starting to be able to share. But I started with the product experience. So Brandy, will you please just hop out and tell us your 30-second story?
All right. Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. So I'm Brandy, and I met Lauren about 2 months ago. I had left my last job at the end of August, and I had gotten to a point after the holidays where I was just super depressed and didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was really frustrated with the job market. And I ran into Lauren at a going away party for a mutual friend of ours. And we had a 30-second conversation, quite literally, where she asked what I did, and I told her I was unemployed, and she just mentioned, have you ever thought about working for yourself? And I was like, oh, maybe, and that's kind of where it ended. And then a week later, one of her amazing posts popped up in my Facebook feed because I had already been following her through our friend Kevin. So I contacted her, and I was like, okay, I want to know what it is that you're doing, because you are just always posting such amazing things. So after about 6 weeks of her coddling me along and inviting me to events, I dove in with my 30-day system. And I've just been rolling from there. I had no intention initially of necessarily doing the sales part. I just wanted to try the products, and I found that I'm so happy with them that I just talk about them to everybody, and I'm starting to get people interested, and it's been really a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Thank you. And for those of you that don't know Brandy, she's like a total whole foodie, has done the Whole30 thing and was trying to figure out how this fits into there. And I remember just being like, well, if you're not at your ideal energy, or you still have cravings, or you feel like you have brain fog, or you're fatigued or something, you should try this. And it's really fun because I know a lot of us get intimidated. People say they do Whole30 and we're able to educate them why Isagenix either fits into that or supplements that. And she's just been great. And I love seeing her after she cleanses and, just has had such a product experience. So I'd also love to introduce Wesley and Eric. You guys, they have just been enrolling like crazy, and they're just growing this massive team in Las Vegas all by themselves and just hit Crystal Director. So if you guys would hop out and share your opportunity story, we'd love to hear from you tonight.
Can you hear us?
We can.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
He's messing with the computer now.
Yeah. First time on Zoom, so I'm screwing around. Before we got involved with Isagenix, we were pretty unhappy with our jobs. We just moved to Las Vegas, and it wasn't really working out. Building up a lot of debt the wrong way, not really what we intended when we moved out here for sure. And we kind of got dragged along the celebration by one of our friends, forced us to go basically. Invited Wesley along for the first day, and then she took me along on the third day, and we kind of caught the vision and got involved. And I was still a skeptic, but Wesley was seeing results right away, so I got jealous and got involved and threw it on my credit card, even though I didn't think we could afford it.
We had enough debt, but we dove in anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. But here we are, really, 8 months later. Just kind of started out trying to pay for our products, and we're looking at manager. We weren't even thinking about director or crystal executive or anything like that. And then the reset came around this year, and we kind of went for it, and it just extrapolated from there. We went from just trying to pay for the products and to being able to pay for our car payments, into we made rent in one day, and now we're like looking towards the future. So Crystal Executive is not only in our sights, but we're working hard towards it. So the real goal here is retirement at an early age. I know those results are a little crazy, but I think what you put into it really is what you get out of it. And I don't think either of us could have done it without the other. So
Definitely.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
Accountability, I think, was really big by having each other, especially for cleanse days, but really in the business aspect too.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And I definitely remember meeting Eric the first day at Celebration, and all I will tell you is he did not want to be there. He did not want to be there. And I'm so glad that they were able to get him there, because now we have him here. And that was not the most friendly person you've ever met. Polite, didn't want to be there. Okay, and then before we get into the heart of the call, Sarah Slutz is on here with us, and she loves our products. And this week we are focusing on the bars. You know, each week we just want to highlight a different product you guys can learn about and share. So Sarah, would you just hop out and teach some people that maybe have never tried them a little bit about our bars, and definitely tell us your favorite one?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Good to see all of your wonderful faces. What a highlight to our Tuesday nights, right? When we get to join forces and just see each other and have this like-minded focus each Tuesday. So love these calls. And what great stories. Thank you guys for popping out and sharing a little bit more. Those are, that inspiration is so important to everyone's success. So thank you for sharing. And thank you, Lauren, for asking me to share. You guys, Isoline bars. Who's had them? Who's raised their hand? Who's tried these before? Who's explored these? If you haven't, please do yourself a favor. Throw one on your next order. There's 9 different flavors to choose from, 3 of which are dairy-free. So you literally have a million options to choose from, combinations, all of that stuff. This has become a staple for us. I am constantly doing something. So these are being convenient. A full meal replacement you can just take with you is so much easier. I know Lauren, you mentioned before kind of being a shake snob and wanting to use these bars instead, because it is kind of get tricky sometimes by taking those shakes with you everywhere. So these bars are the perfect substitute for that. So they've got 18, 19 grams of protein, depending on which one you're getting. So all of the wonderful benefits that our shakes offer, they're in the bars too. So it's really kind of a no-brainer when we're adding in that convenience. You're still getting so much of that value. Still sitting about 250 calories. So total meal replacement. They're also make a great snack. I'll use mine. You eat half of one as like my mid-morning or mid-afternoon snack. That's just so satisfying, just quick, easy, convenient, really delicious. Also great for pre-workout. Adam, I was talking with him just last week, Adam Feichter, and he was talking about this is what he uses if he gets up early in the morning and needs something in his system before he gets to the gym. That bar is a perfect kind of item for there. Obviously, again, it's quick, easy in the morning, and it's a perfect way to just really get your body ready to have a great workout. So another idea that Lauren had in there was just cutting them up into bite-sized pieces, throwing them in the freezer. What great little tidbits that you can have throughout the day when you're craving something a little sweet. My 2 favorites, the 2 flavors that I love, lemon passion crunch, which I believe is a very common favorite. It's perfect for any throughout the day, morning, evening, whatever, it all works. My second favorite is definitely the chocolate decadence. This one, if you haven't had it, take it, put it in the microwave for a little while, get a little bit soft and melty. Oh my gosh, it's like a brownie. Kid you not. So definitely recommend them. The bars are amazing. They're a great substitute. I hope that was a little bit of insight into how I use them and what makes them so great. So thank you.
That's so awesome. And I have never warmed my Decadence bar, so learn something new all the time. So we're going to get into the heart of the call, you guys. And I just wanted to first highlight, what a treat it is when we have other leaders, that really just want to pour their wisdom, their grace, and their time into us. And that's one of my favorite things about Isagenix in this culture. And we have one team, and that I literally do not meet people in Isagenix with the scarcity mindset, and they just are so freeing to want to share and want to inspire. So on the fun side, when I had messaged Ciji and said, hey, would you be willing to do the call? She's like, is this one of those like Zoom things? Like, am I going to have to do my hair? And I said, well, I usually come from the gym and I never do my hair, so I don't care if you do your hair. She was like, okay, I'm in. And that's like, the fun side of being able to work in Lululemon and do this business. But on a more serious side, you guys, she's an Isagenix Millionaire. She is a START ambassador. She has a massive team. She lives part-time in New Jersey, part-time in California. She is so much fun, but I think that she's the epitome of someone that was always hardworking, always really smart, but kind of stuck in industries that weren't serving her. You know, as a bartender, she had a fashion degree, was just looking for something to really launch her life to the full potential. So I'm going to let her share your story. And then tonight, just kind of interview her a little bit on what her journey has been like, how she became the leader that she is, how she has created so many other successful leaders, has the team size that she has, and just be able to leave you guys all with some golden nuggets. So with no further ado, hi, Ciji. How are you?
Hi, Lauren. Thank you for that. I loved network marketing when everything was over the phone and there was no like video chat. I feel like Zoom has totally made me like shower way more often than I ever had to plan to. But that being said, I did wash my hair today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for hopping on. And it's funny too, because I said that the other day. I said, when I started this, it was all three-way calls and I could be like doing laundry, like putting dishes away, and like no one knew what I was doing. Like we get on a Zoom and I like have to actually sit here like all day, but you are showering more than me. So I would love for you to just start even just by telling your story, because very few people, I think, know your story. And some of you have probably seen you on Facebook or seen you in Start, but most of these people are not from New Jersey. They weren't at ICU New Jersey. Like I would love for them to just hear your story.
Sure. So one of the things I have to say is you guys are so lucky to have Lauren, because I'm not even joking. My brother and I are constantly like, okay, what would Lauren Sims do right now? And when I had to host the Start, and I don't remember what it was. It was a Start thing a couple weeks ago. Actually, I had to inbox Lauren, and I was like, just teach me about the products really, really quickly, because she did our team call right before New Year's kickoff, and we had so many people who their business like changed after that call. So to have Lauren every week is such a gift. So I have to say that. So my story, I was introduced to Isagenix a little over 7 years ago. At the time, I was waitressing and bartending on the Jersey Shore, so exactly where they filmed that show. That's actually where I worked. And I was just having a casual conversation behind the bar with a coworker of mine who many people probably know now as Isagenix Millionaire, Tara Romano. And it was a super casual conversation. She was barely building an Isagenix business at best. I had no idea Isagenix was a thing. I just said, what's a really good protein shake? And she said to me, let me get you on the phone with my sister. She'll explain it all to you. I thought that was really weird. I didn't understand why I had to talk to her sister. I didn't even know she had a sister. But all of a sudden, I found myself on the phone with someone who probably everybody I would think at this point in Isagenix knows is Alexis Romano. But Alexis Romano 7 years ago was a guidance counselor in Jersey City, really just starting her Isagenix business. Now I think she's like number 5 altogether in Isagenix, which is amazing. So I got on the phone with Alexis. She said, you're not going to just drink a shake. You're going to do this 30-day cleanse. You're going to love it. And I honestly didn't ask any questions. I just gave her my credit card. I gave her my social. I didn't think twice about it. I texted her after and I was like, just because I feel like I should be responsible, like, what am I putting on my credit card? Not because I even care at this point. Because she said I was going to feel amazing, and I'm very much a yes unless you give me a reason to be a no. So I put the products in my body. I called them 3 weeks later, and I was like, okay, this is really great. Like, I feel awesome, as most people will say. But let's be real. What happens after? Like, are you telling me that I should just drink shakes for the rest of my life? Is this what people do? And she said something that made such logical sense that, again, I didn't question it. She said, if you feel amazing, why would you stop? And that's all I really needed to hear to know, okay, these products are going to be a non-negotiable part of my life forever. So about 2 years passed. They told me there was an opportunity to get my products paid for. I very much didn't care because I didn't understand network marketing. I didn't even know it was a thing, so I wasn't for it or against it. I just didn't think it was for me until I turned 28 and I realized that I did not want to be a 28-year-old waitress and bartender. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I was just really unhappy doing it. I had been doing it for a decade. It wasn't fun to me anymore, and I was becoming a person that I wouldn't like if I met me now. So I reached out to Tara and Alexis, and I said, okay, listen, I'm going to start grad school. I'm going to get my master's, and if I can't work 80 hours behind the bar anymore, can you teach me how to get these products paid for? Because I don't want to sacrifice what I'm ordering, but I'm also not going to have as much money coming in. And so that's really how it started for me. My goal was $400 a month, which at the time felt really out of reach. I wasn't sure it was something I could do. I didn't know even what I was supposed to do. But Alexis said, you're going to make a list. And she said, you're going to come to Isagenix University, which was happening, I guess, I want to say a month or two later. And again, I always say it was a really aggressive request on my time because I was a full-time grad student and I was waitressing and bartending. And here's Isagenix University happening on a Friday and a Saturday where I make all my money, and you want me to miss all the things I have going on to go to this event to learn how to get my products paid for. but I didn't know I had the option of saying no. So I just went because I really wanted to learn how to make the $400 a month. And that for me is when I had the aha moment. That's when I started to realize that what we're doing is so much more than shakes and bars, and that this could be more for me than just making $400 a month. And it was at that event that I really made the declaration that I didn't know how I was going to do it, but that this was going to be my full time, and that I was going to finish grad school and I wasn't going to get a job. And oddly enough, I finished grad school. I was able to pay my student loans off. I want to say within a year in a lump sum. I left my waitressing and bartending job. I thankfully never had to get like a quote unquote job ever in my life. I've always done a lot of random things, but this has been my full time for 3 years now. And it's just been the best. I get to do it with my friends and my family and the people I love the most. And I just have a blast. And I truly feel like I live a life that I thought only existed in movies. And had you told me 7 years ago that this would be where I would end up, I would have never believed it, but it's been a blast.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love when I've heard you say before too, that's a very aggressive request on my time. Because I think it is. And when someone exchanging time for money, it's huge. Or we try and get a mom who's going to miss a kid's birthday, or they're going to miss an event, and we're trying to get them there. And it is a good way to put it. But obviously, you know, I'm sure that you're glad that you went now, and we're really grateful when we get other people to events. So just kind of remember this story, you guys, as you're getting people to events. So I have asked some of the team leaders and just some people, like, what are the things that they kind of really want to know tonight and what would be beneficial. And so one of the things I'd love to ask you is, you know, people follow you on Facebook. I'm sure half of my team is following you on Facebook because I've either talked about you at some time or referenced you. And, you know, I know that you have a really fabulous life, and you can go shopping, or that you can kind of work out whenever. It looks like you're traveling a lot, but I also know that in order to do this business well, you have to be plugged in, you know, and there has to be income producing activities. So what are the things that you do on a daily basis, or what are your kind of non-negotiables that you think have led you to be able to do this full time, or have kept you, no, they were not just coasting, like kind of growing, maintaining that business, but still finding those boundaries that you are having this freedom life, or the life that you thought you only saw in magazines or movies?
I'm going to answer that. I feel like the best that I can, as long as I understood the question. So the reason, because I was thinking about this the other day, about like, why am I successful? Why did this work for me? And I think one, it's because I know what motivates me. So some people, it's the motivation of, I want to buy a car, or I want to quit my job, or I want to do whatever for my family. And I have always been, as much as things excite me, and quitting my job was huge for me, I am very much motivated by personal achievement. So I'm not saying that has to be what it is for you, but what I'm saying is know what it is for you. Because even now, 5 years into building this business, and I just said this the other day, I said, it's not like rank advancing is going to change my life at all, but it's the personal achievement that I get that keeps me doing what I'm doing all the time. So what are the things that I do consistently? What non-negotiable for me is working out every day. So I have like a ridiculous amount of gym memberships. I pay for gyms that aren't even near me, just in case like I end up at one at some point. So that's a huge non-negotiable for me. And then personal prospecting and enrolling is number one. And being really honest, and I said this at ICU, New Jersey, I guess in March, I went into this year in January, and I was just at the point where I was like, my business is good and it's solid, but it wasn't really catching momentum. And I would look at my back office, and I would check people's cycles, and I would see where people were at, and I would enroll people, but there was nothing really happening. And I remember calling Alexis Romano, and we were on the phone talking about something, and I said, I got to be honest, I'm not only sick of myself, I'm sick of my team. And it's not that I don't love them, but I'm sick of checking the same people's cycles every week. I'm sick of seeing where the same people are at. And if I want my business to really look different this year, then it's got to start with me. I have to do something different. And I really went back to building this business the way that I did when I started. And not to say I wasn't taking action before, because I don't understand what it looks like to not take action in this business, but I took it with a different level of intensity and a different level of expectation, and really got back to personally reaching out to people, not just like building relationships and being like, hey, how's it going? But following up with people and saying, understanding that everyone is going to get into Isagenix. And this is what has been huge for me, is knowing that people are getting into Isagenix. And if I'm not willing to reach out again, or if I'm not willing to follow up again, they're going to get into Isagenix, but it's going to be because their best friend starts and they're more comfortable going through them than they are from the girl who they talked to 5 years ago. So getting really consistent with my list, reaching out to people on my list, following up with people on my list, and working with people who really wanted to work. Because Michelle Schaefer said on our team call, I guess sometime this year, which I've heard it before, but it hit me differently. She said, it's time for the class of 2017. We can't keep dragging the same people from last year, hoping that they're going to do something. It's time to bring in new people. And so I say this from a place of, one, really seeing what I could have done better last year and knowing what I did this year. But I've already this year enrolled more people than I did all of last year, and I've rank advanced more people. And it's not to say that I'm so great. That's not it at all. It's almost like, well, what were you doing last year? Like, I have said that to myself. But I realized that the error in my last year was the way I was building my business. And I lost sight of the really key things that I should be doing, which is reaching out to people, asking them to take a look, doing presentations, doing three-way calls, working with my team, but never, never, never stopping the main thing, which is putting people on the products. Because we get so caught up in like, who's going to build a business with me? Who's going to build a business with me? Who's that next person? And I've just been so focused this year on who can have an amazing product experience and never losing sight of who can really put these products in their body and change their life. So that's the number one thing I think I do. And I always go back to what Alexis Romano said to me when I first started, and I didn't understand building a team or anything. And she always said, just put people on the tree. If you put people on the tree, you can create momentum. If you're not putting people on the tree, then you can't expect anybody else to put people on the tree. And I understand we all go through lulls. Like I said, like last year, I probably enrolled the least amount of people I've ever enrolled in a year in Isagenix, and it wasn't because of lack of action. It just wasn't as much action, and it wasn't as intentional. And in all honesty, I got a little bit comfortable, and I think it has to come from within sometimes to kind of hold the mirror up to ourselves and say like, okay, like if you want something to look differently, what are you willing to do? Because nobody's going to build my business the way I want it built except for me. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that was a really big tangent.
It was good. And you did, and some. And some of the things that I love, not only is like, you're the only person that can build it. I think sometimes people are frustrated, or they're not doing enough, or they're not doing this. And you know that speed of the leader, speed of the pack, and it starts within, but that you're focused on, you know, the like intentional prospecting, not just like, hi, how are you? But actually asking them to take a look. The follow-up, the best thing I think that you just said is everyone's getting into Isagenix. And it's true. Every day in corporate will tell you like who's coming from what companies and what people are doing, and they're finding out that this is the solid company, you know, with the best compensation and a variety of incredibly no compromise products. And that sometimes it is just putting them on the product and getting them into the tree, because if they love the products and order every month, they're still choosing this over another nutritional company, and it will change your business. So that's awesome. I absolutely love it. What do you think in general, if you could give a couple tips without making this entire call about connecting, for especially brand new people that are learning how to talk to people, learning how to take a look, what are some ways that you do that in the cold market with people you've never met, as opposed to like the warm market? Just kind of general couple key points in both areas.
So I am big on building a relationship, right? Like I never want to be the person who is at the gym and is just like, hey, do you want to try my protein shake, when they're not even paying any attention to me. So I always start with a compliment. Like I find people that have things that I can compliment. I'm very aware of like clothing and sneakers and hair, and that's just my wheelhouse. It's what excites me. I went to the Fashion Institute for college. So it's just the things I notice. So I find people where I can be like, oh my goodness, I love your shoes. Where did you get them? Just to open up a conversation. I bring everybody back to Facebook, because that's where I can see if I really even want to work with them. Because sometimes we meet someone out and we think like, oh my goodness, I'm going to love this person. And then we see what they're doing on social media, and we're like, I do not want this energy in my business. So that's one of the things I do when I'm out. I bring everybody back to social media. And then when I ask someone to take a look, it's just very much like, Lauren, I've been following you for a while. I love your energy. I don't know if you have any idea what I'm doing, but I would love to tell you about it. I think it could be something that's amazing for you. And then I let her tell me if she's open to hearing about it. But the one thing I think I do that I do well is I am incredibly consistent, to the point probably people, well, I know people would call me relentless. I just don't take no for an answer. I take no for right now, but if Lauren said I'm not interested, that's cool. Because in 3 months, I'm going to reach out again. And then in 3 months, or whatever the case is, depending on the relationship with someone. And I always just say, listen, like, I don't know, timing changes all the time. Like, is this something you want to talk about? But I always think if you're just real and you're genuine and you can connect with a person on like a real people level, because I did the thing in the beginning when we didn't know what we were doing, and I spammed my entire network with the same cookie cutter. If you get on these products and you enroll 2 people and you can get this much money back, and of course, no, this is the thing. Nobody answered me. I maybe enrolled like 3 or 4 people off of it. But what I always say is, at least that was better than nothing, right? Because a lot of people think they're building a business and they're just posting on social media and they're not actually reaching out to people. At least I was doing something, but what I learned from that was what not to do, what turned people off. And after doing this for a couple of years, I rarely get someone that says I'm not willing to take a look, because I think I'm really genuine and really honest when I reach out to someone and I let them know why I thought of them. And most people are super receptive to that, because what I've realized is when I started building Isagenix 5 years ago, and Facebook is the only social media. I think I have a LinkedIn account. Like I have an Instagram, but I don't know how to check it. But Facebook is what I've been on since I started. And when I started, I did not have one person in my network building any kind of network marketing business. So in a way, I went first and my network thought I was really weird. They thought I kind of lost it. They thought it was bizarre, but they were willing to follow it because it's almost like you want to follow like the car crash to see what happens. But the flip side is I really gained, I think, credibility over that time because I went first. Whereas now, 5 years later, how many people, just by a show of hands, like know someone building a network marketing business and they see it on their social media? Everybody probably knows so many people building a network marketing business. So this is the thing. If you're just posting on Facebook, you're doing exactly what every other network marketer is doing, which is pretty much nothing, because posting on Facebook doesn't even count, in my opinion, as an income producing activity. It's like the baseline for if you're going to have a business, of course you're going to be on social media. So I think it's just the reaching out and figuring out what feels good and genuine to you, but you have to ask people to take a look, because we're doing something with our team right now called the Mission Intensive. And I say, like, yes, of course you want to rebuild relationships with people. It's so important. You don't want to spam people, but you don't want to get so caught up building relationships with people that you're building a relationship for 2 years and that person's getting welcomed into your cleanse group by somebody else because you weren't willing to ask them to take a look. So I think I would rather ask someone maybe a little bit too soon than wait too long and know that I missed the opportunity to have that conversation, because either they're going to be in Isagenix or they're going to be in another company, because network marketing is I think what everybody is moving toward. Even the people who told me they would never do it are doing it. So I want to be the person that they choose to do it with. So it's for me, it's the same, pretty much the same thing all the time of like, I love your energy. I don't know if you know what I'm doing. Are you open to having a conversation with me? But I love your spin class. I come every week. I just love the energy you have. You're so inspiring. I don't know if you know what I'm doing. I would love to share a little bit about it with you. I think it could be a great fit. Are you open to talking about it? And that's literally it.
I love it. That's so awesome. I actually, I just, after all of the travels last 2 weeks, I went to my yoga studio that I normally go to, and I forget how, but someone I see all the time, I actually said something to her, and, she's the yoga instructor, and sometimes because I teach a lot of places, you guys, I don't ever want to, some places I just want to be able to go and not have to do Isagenix too. I wanted to be able to walk in, and I ended up talking to her, and I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about Isagenix right now, and she's going to force me to talk about Isagenix. It was just, I knew it, and I ended up saying something, and she goes, you've been coming here every week for 1.5 years. And she goes, I watch you on Facebook. And she goes, I've always been like, what's wrong with me? How come she's never talked to me about this? Like, signed her that day. I couldn't even go into my class because I had to like sit outside and like sign this woman. And it's great, but it's true. And I was like, man, this could have been a lot easier if I had just said, your class is amazing. So I come every single week, And anyway, so it's great. And I love how genuine and fun that is. So we always say, I think in network marketing, that people see the glory and they don't know the story. And not everybody has a rags to riches story. Not everybody has to have come from extreme hardship. But I do think to be able to max out your business, to become a millionaire, there's skills you have to learn. There's things that you probably didn't sign up for when you signed up for your 30-day on how to lead, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So what are some examples or some of the things that you feel like you have learned that have really aided in your leadership and your success, or the growth that you've gone through over these 5 years to get you to where you are now from where you started?
That's a great question. So my brother we have our team call right now, and my text come to my back, and my brother just said, I want to get on your call. Which call are you on? He asked for the link, but I'll give it to him later.
Oh, you should get on.
So the number one thing I learned that I really think changed my business, and this was something is I think like 4 or 5 words that was said to me over and over and over again for probably the first like 16 months of my life in Isagenix, that I could hear but I couldn't internalize, was, it's not about you. And it was one of those things where I was very much like, I can't talk to fitness instructors because I'm not one. I can't talk to fitness competitors because I don't look like one. I can't talk to people about the business because I'm not making any money. And Alexis Romano this woman is a saint. If you've ever met her, like she is a saint, and she is so patient. I always say she worked with me so much, probably because like she didn't have anyone else to work with at the time. It was just me, her, and Tara, because I'm sure I was exhausting. But it was her constantly saying to me, this is not about you. This is about who you can help. Stop making it about you and start making it about this person that you're talking to. And it was just words to me for so long until I really started to internalize it. And that's when it changed, is when I really realized, like, this is not about me. This is about whoever it is that's looking for an opportunity that I can help. And they don't care necessarily how much money I'm making, because it's about how much money they can make. So that was probably the most challenging lesson I had to learn as I went, but it's what really changed my business, because it completely took the pressure I felt off of me and what I had to be and put it on the other person. So there was no nerves or anxiety anymore, or at least way less. Because if I'm being honest, I still get nervous every single time I reach out to someone. And without fail, I get nervous and I'm like, oh my God, are they going to judge me? Are they going to think I'm weird? What are they going to say? Until I reach out to them. And this is the other thing I notice is we tend to try to drag the same people and have the same conversation with the same people who so aren't interested. And all of a sudden, when we're willing to reach out to that person who maybe makes us a little bit nervous that we've never had a conversation with, when we're willing to say, like, if it was Lauren, like, Lauren, you have such great energy. I don't know if you know what I'm doing, but I'd love to share it with you. I think you could be great at it. 99% of the time when I do this, that new person that maybe made me nervous, Lauren says, oh my goodness, I don't know what you do, but I would love to hear about it. And every time that happens, it's such a good reminder of stop dragging the people who have zero interest in what I'm doing, that I'm begging for them to see it, and go find the people like Lauren who are open to at least having a conversation. So that was a huge lesson for me, was really understanding it's not about you. And then probably the lesson that I started learning, I guess, 5 years ago, and I'm still learning it to this day, is understanding that meeting people where they are is more than just words, and that it has to be action. Because we always talk about meeting people where they are, and I always talk to my team about meeting people where they are. But what I realized, and like I realized it last year, so that's 4 full years of doing this business without even knowing that I was not meeting anybody where they were. I was trying to make them be where I was. And then I was frustrated and I was irritated and I was aggravated when they weren't doing it the way I wanted to do it, and when they didn't see the picture the way that I saw the picture. And when I actually called a lot of the leaders on my team, and I see my brother is on, he can vouch for this. I called him and I said, listen, we have a problem. We are not meeting people where they are. It is duplicating through the organization, and we have to take a step back. And really, I think what meeting people where they are looks like to me now is understanding people come into this as a completely blank slate. So I didn't know what network marketing was. I didn't understand that you had to have a list. I didn't understand that you were supposed to follow a social media system. I never had been on a conference call a day in my life. I actually said to Alexis, I don't want to help people build a business. I just want to put people on the products. Yet here I was having a conversation with someone and writing them off if they weren't willing to be as all in as I was 5 years into this. So I think really understanding, and in like complete transparency, this is something I still work on all the time, is understanding that meeting people where they are in this business is so much more than words. We have to do it in action, and we have to do it from a place of compassion, because people's light bulbs go off at different times. And if we try to make theirs go off just because ours went off, and we end up getting frustrated or trying to drag them instead of just letting them go through their process. If Alexis tried to drag me and didn't let me go through my process and go through my struggles and go through my hardships and have my wall-kicking moments, I don't know that I would be here today. But because she let me have that experience, and she was there for me, and we'd have conversations about what was going on, but she never made me wrong for it. She never tried to just get me over it. She just let me have the experience and kept me going on this journey. And that was huge for me. So really realizing that I had to be that person for somebody else. So if you wanted to walk, it's okay that I can walk with you, but you also have to understand I'm not going to run while you're walking. So I think it's such like a delicate balance between meeting people where they are, but also matching energy with energy, because I'm looking for the people who want to run, and I don't mind walking with somebody, but the bulk of my energy is going toward the people who really want it. Because we have and this changed so much for me, is I don't know how many people have heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he said something at one of his events that was a huge light bulb moment. He said, we have a finite amount of energy. And so if we're wasting it on things that don't deserve it, we don't have more to put toward the things that do. And he gave us like a whole chart. And when I can now visualize, I only have so much energy. I can't put it toward things that don't serve me. And I can't put it toward things that make me angry or things that frustrate me. So I've become much more boundaried around my energy, which has helped a ton because now I'm putting it toward the people who deserve it. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I think it kind of did.
No, it's good. It's awesome. It's really good. I'm like trying to type in the chat and then people are like messaging me. You have great stuff, great information. And I love that whole energy for action. And I don't know if Joe Dispenza, I'm not sure if I've ever heard that analogy. And it really is true because I know we've all struggled with wanting it more for other people sometimes than they want it for themselves. Or, some people come into this with a natural skill set, even if they've never done network marketing. They maybe have a sales background or they have a stronger belief system or they don't have the rejection issues or for whatever reason that it's easier for them and that other people have to go through that and are learning at a different pace. But I have a question in regards to that kind of, that even if you have just product users, we want them to have a great product experience. Or like you said, some people are walking while you're running. But if someone comes to you and is like, I want to go fast, like I'm ready to sprint, what do I have to do? Like, what are the first few action items? Or how would you launch someone that's like on the track to be the next Isagenix Millionaire?
So I would have them make their list, which I think is the most important step and probably the most underutilized one. Get names down on paper and then set 3-way calls. And this is the thing is sometimes people are like, I'm so ready to go. And then they never set a 3-way call. That for me is pretty much where I stop with them because there's nothing I can do for them if they're not willing to get people on the phone with me. There's nowhere else for us to go. So we kind of stall right there. The other thing we do is we really set up their social media and we train people on social media exactly as I've done the training New Year's kickoff in 2015. I think the video is out there, but utilizing that 10-4-1 system. And we teach people to that literally over and over and over again. So the two main things are the lists and then setting up their Facebook. And if someone ever comes to me and says, I'm frustrated or I feel like it's not happening fast enough, the number one thing I do is I look at their Facebook. Again, not because setting up your Facebook means that you're building business, but if your Facebook isn't set up, then you're for sure not building a business. And then if you're not getting me on the phone, there's nothing else I can do for you. So I think the number one thing for someone brand new, set up 3-way calls, be ignorance on fire. Because I just had this conversation with someone on my team who when she started, she was complete ignorance on fire. She was enrolling 15 people a week when she started, and now she's been in it for a couple years. It's slowed down a lot. And it's a different level when all of a sudden you know so much that the knowledge can sometimes hinder you because you overthink it. So for the new people, I always say, like, this is learn as you go. Let's not worry about all the little details. Your only job right now is get me on the phone. We'll figure everything else out as we go. Because I think once people start getting paid and they start having fun, it opens up the whole world of network marketing to them. And then they're excited to get on the training calls. And the other thing we do, I think, really well that works is we connect people of like mind. So if I have, say, a fitness instructor, I'm going to connect her with other fitness instructors in our team just to share a little bit of a story because I think it's that energy of hearing from people who have walked in your shoes. It just helps give people a little bit more confidence and a little bit more belief. But again, at the end of the day, if someone's not getting me on the phone and setting 3-way calls, they don't really have a business because we don't have a business if we're not enrolling people. That's the main thing. Like at the end of the day, whenever someone on my team wants to get on the phone and they're like, all right, like, let's troubleshoot and let's, strategize. And I'm like, oh, enroll people. That's troubleshooting and strategizing. We can't do anything if we're not enrolling people. So put people on the tree and then let's go from there.
I love it. It's crazy. I talked to Janny and Betsy Frame today, and some people know who that is, some people don't. They're Isagenix Millionaire is a part of our upline, but like they're always still enrolling. It's like at never point you just stop. Like if you love this and you love helping people and you love the lifestyle you've created or giving back or serving others, it's like it never stops, And I think all the top earners, one of the things they'll always say is they've never stopped enrolling, whatever pace that is. So I think that's fabulous and I love it. I think a lot of people struggle.
For the record, like double PIBs, they never get old, right?
No.
Every time we get a double PIB, literally we're like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Doesn't matter how much money you make in this business. They're always exciting.
I so agree. So one of the things you just brought up about the 3-way calls, and I agree because it's a show me business. You can tell people, but they actually hear you overcome an objection, actually hear you go through like our different packs or whatever, clothes or any of those things. People are going to learn, but so many people won't set up 3-way calls, right? They feel like they're selling. They feel like it's uncomfortable. They think it's weird or whatever. What are a couple of your golden tips and nuggets to make 3-way calls easy and fun and not as awkward, pressured, salesy situation?
So I was one of those people that I thought 3-way calls were so weird in the beginning. I remember I actually had to drive to Barnes & Noble and I thought I was going to throw up the first time I had to get someone on the phone with Alexis. So I get it. I thought they were uncomfortable too. But what I realize now is if I'm new, I don't know anything. So why am I going to do if I'm, talking to Lauren, I want to sign up Lauren. why am I going to try and tell Lauren everything when I don't know anything yet? It makes no sense. I'm going to overwhelm Lauren. Lauren's going to lose interest versus saying like, listen, like, let me get you on the phone with my coach. She's been doing it way longer. She can get you the best information. So we always say, just don't make it weird. And it's not weird. Just be very casual and this is the other thing is, I don't send anybody information until they get on the phone with me. So that's a way that we qualify people, where if you want information, you have to get on the phone with me, because I want to get really clear on what your goals are, what you're looking for, all those things. And when someone's new, they don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what questions to ask Lauren. If Lauren just says, I'm interested in the program, how do I know which solution she's even looking for? So that's why the three-way call is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we do. Because once you do a couple of them, you don't really need anyone to help you with the presentation. You learn the presentation, I think, pretty quickly. But it's that third-party edification, too, especially when you're so new. Your friends are not going to see you typically as the expert on nutritional cleansing. Like, my friends certainly did not think I was any kind of expert on nutritional cleansing when I had a background in bartending, right? But getting someone on the phone with Alexis, who at the time I could say, listen, she's been doing this for a couple years. She has a background. She was an IIN health coach. She's going to be the best one to answer your questions. But even if the person isn't an IIN health coach, just to say, listen, I'm so excited to get you on the phone with my friend Lauren. She's been doing this way longer than me. She's coached hundreds of people. She's coached tens of people. It doesn't matter what it is. It just takes the pressure off of you to know everything. And that's how you really learn things. And I think we all agree, we don't want to have to know everything. I have someone on the program right now who, she owns a CrossFit studio. I went to college with her. She has asked me so many questions. I wish that I was Lauren, honestly. She's asked me so many questions on cleansing. And I'm like, I got to be honest, Steph, I don't know. Let me send you an article. I got to be honest, Steph, I don't know. Let me send you a podcast. I'm constantly saying, I don't know. I don't know, Steph. Let me get you on the phone with someone. Let me connect you with someone in an inbox. So I'm constantly showing her I'm clearly not the expert because I don't know most of these answers. But two, it takes the pressure off so that way when she wants to build a business, she can see Ciji didn't know everything. She just found information for me. I can do that too. It's duplication. And this business, nothing matters except for what duplicates. That's the winner is the best duplicator.
I actually love that you just said that, because that was going to be the question. It was, what do you do? Because my team's always like, I'm not a nutritionist. Like, I don't know that. I'm like, you don't have to be. And I, like, 6 months into it, I was like, stop telling people I'm a nutritionist. It's not helping any of us. Like, just tell me if I do anything else. Just tell them I still wait tables, because it's easier. So the last thing I'm going to ask you, and then let everybody just enjoy the rest of their Tuesday night. But we have a celebration coming up, and we know that events are huge. You touched on that in your story, and you know how with the aggressive request on your time, what that really did for you. But celebration is a time often when school is in session or about to go back in session. You know, people are missing first days of school or things like that. And it is a sacrifice. It's, you know, can be costly. You know, it's in the middle of the week. It's a longer event, things like that. But why that event and why any of our events is just so important, and why that's kind of a non-negotiable when you're qualifying your business builders, or, you know, just to speak a little bit from your experience over 5 years and of the hundreds of thousands of people that your team has been able to get to events, what you've seen that do, and also any tips on what's the best way to invite people, like not just the value, but how are you actually inviting and creating the urgency for them to attend?
So yeah, like we always say, events are the most important thing. They're non-negotiable, all that stuff, right? And what happens at events, I mean, it can't be explained on a training call, and we all know that. So the way that I get people to events, I don't know if this is like the most Denver response, but I'm very New Jersey, if you can't tell. So it's very much a direct, like, this is really important and you have to be here because, and the one thing that I think that I do pretty well is I don't just tag people in a Facebook post, which we can all be guilty of sometimes, is like, oh, go to this event and we tag them. Personally reaching out to people and having a conversation with them about the importance of the event and letting people know that if this is what you really wanted and you told me that you want to retire from your job or you want to do this, then the only way I know how to get you there is if you get to this event. Are you really still serious about wanting to leave your job? And my brother is on this call, and when he first started Isagenix 4 years ago, he actually, I had said to him, I got you a celebration ticket because he started right before celebration. He said, well, I'm not going. I have a wedding. And I said, we have the same wedding. It's our cousin. You're going because I can't work with you if you're not at this event. And he went because he was terrified of me. But he went, and what happened at that event for him was so much more than even being my brother he could have seen. And it changed everything for him, hearing Peter Kelly and hearing from the Slobans and hearing Natalie Cook and all the incredible trainers. So the people who feel like they can't get there, this is the truth, right? everybody has things going on in their life. Everyone has situations, but I promise you someone that has your same situation is going to be at that event. And it's the person who makes the decision to be a little bit unreasonable in their life and get there anyway. It's their life that's going to change. If you choose to, someone waving at me? Leslie? I saw the wave. Everybody has things going on in their life, but it's the people who are willing to be a little bit uncomfortable and get a little bit unreasonable that are going to shift their business. Because it's easy for even me at this point to say, I don't like Vegas. I don't want to go to Vegas. It is not my scene. It's not fun to me. I don't want to fly across the country. Whatever the case may be, or if you're someone that you're like, all right, Ciji, like that's cool, but I have 5 kids. I promise you there's somebody else with 5 kids who's getting to that event. And if you ask me who I'm working with, the person who's at the event or the person who's not, it's 100% hands down the person that's at celebration. And this is the thing. Can it be costly? I think that's maybe a perspective that we choose, because the quality of the training that we're getting from not just Isagenix, but from Tony Robbins, for I think the ticket at this point is what, $250. That's a couple, I mean, like you could sell 3 President's Packs this week and have that ticket paid for. You can room with people. There's such easy, affordable ways to do it. It really comes down to, in my opinion, like how badly do you want it? How serious are you about making this work? Because like I said, someone with the same excuse is going to find a reason to get there. So what does my conversation look like? Pretty much exactly that. Like my friend Vicky is on, and Vicky has a small child and she's never missed an event. But the conversation, if say she was like, you know what, I don't know if I can make it, it would be like, Vicky, you told me that you don't want to go to work anymore. Like, how serious were you when you told me that? Is that something that you really wanted, or were you joking? And I got that from Zach Slobin. Is that something you really wanted, or were you joking? And she's going to be like, well, no, it's something I really wanted. Well, awesome, because the only way I know how to help you leave your job is to get you to this event. So are you willing to be there? Are you willing to work with me and figure it out? It's a conversation like that. It sounds a little bit different every time, but it's more than tagging people in a Facebook post and crossing your fingers that they see it and deciding on their own to see the value. Because most people that like will tag them in post, but it's when I get on the phone and say, listen, are you going? That I don't know. I have this and I have this, and we have the conversation. That's when the light switch goes off for them. That's when they're like, oh, okay, I get it more, because now it's personal and now it's about me. It's not just about this general mass of people.
I love it. It's so true. And that whole line of, you know, somebody else, you're making the excuse and somebody else is making it their reason. So that is so powerful. I always try and keep our team calls underneath an hour. And I am so grateful that you have volunteered your time tonight. And Todd, it's great to see you. And thank you for passing this on to Vicky. I'll get you the recording in case you want to pass it and share it, because there's tons of great stuff on here. But thank you all just for making the time on your Tuesday night. We know our training calls are so valuable. You know, for everybody who shared and opened up in the beginning of the call, we just appreciate you. And just go have so much fun, you guys. The Crystal Director Reset is just days away. There's some of you I know on the cusp of nailing it. We had 2 people go a little early with it this last week, and I just want to celebrate so many of those rank advancements this week. And happy Mother's Day to all of you moms this week. Thank you so much, Ciji. Thank you so much. Great information. We really appreciate your time. And I will go shower after this.
I speak for our entire team, Lauren, when I say we love you, and we're very much like, what would Lauren Sims do? And how do we be as nice as Lauren Sims? That's like a really consistent conversation that we have. Because you're the best, and I have a Denver team, and you're so willing to accommodate them and really just bring them in, and it's so awesome. I so appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't think the Denver people will always call me nice. So if we're on the Denver to Jersey scale, I'm glad that it's a good big gradient. So thank you. I appreciate that. And you guys, all of you, thank you for your time tonight. We'll see you next week, if not before.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.